Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fallout Equestria, Chapter 2, Part 2. And last we left off, little Pip is now outside, and she has stumbled across some slavers, and I believe they are going to capture her and make her their slave. Well, anyway, let's get started. Hi! What did I name this team? Okay. Nexus is always ready. Okay, I'm gonna turn this like this because I can see more of the screen now. Alright. Let me clear my throat. I don't have any water today, which is sad, but I have Mountain Dew, but I feel like that'll make my throat worse. Always. Alright, well anyway, let's get started. I got some nice music in the background. So, yeah. Alright. Monterey Jack, the dirty beige unicorn with already. Let me move this. I cannot see. Monterey Jack, the dirty beige unicorn with... I think that's bored expression? I don't know. Expression and a cutie mark that looked like cheese followed behind me as we trudged alongside our captors, walking a broken path that once was a road. My legs were in chains, making walking difficult, and any more I can't read. Making walking difficult and anything more speedy than a trot impossible. My pip book had the slaver's efforts to binding my forelegs, eventually forcing them to chain above my knees. Had the one with the shovel spear not been holding its point dangerously against my throat, the other two would have gotten a few hooves tender place for their efforts. As it was, they made short work of me. No, not that. I was not gagged, but Monterey had convinced me earlier that unnecessary chatter would be from I was not gagged, but Monterey Jack had convinced me that unnecessary chatter from the slaves today would result in the loss of my tongue. Ew. Not that I had much to say to these brutes anyways, aside from my... can't words. It's funny how it's still under gaming category. I don't know how to change that. I'm sorry. Sorry, I was itching something. I didn't expect they would answer my questions, even if my tongue should survive the asking, and they were being chatty enough with each other to suffix. Hate theft fart. Why? You make me say this. What? Use a computer and mess with... My computer doesn't have YouTube at the moment. We're trying to figure out how to fix that. So yeah. From the earth pony threw a spear clenched in his teeth. Well then, if you would just learn to swim, we could take the long way, couldn't we? Suggested the unicorn with a poisoned sweetness. It's a website. I know, but every time I try to pull it up, it never works. So we're doing this now. Hate Fuffin Swifty. I think that's what he's trying to say. I hate effing something. But by his smell, decidedly more pungent than the others, I guess he hated water in general. How about you stop complaining, and I'll let you sample one of the sleighs before we get to the forest. Their leader, an earth pony named Cracker, their leader, an earth pony named Cracker, with the spiked tubes and humor that looks suspiciously like a whip, or maybe a snake, turned back towards Monterey, and I, with a filthy smile, I looked away. They laughed. To their disgust dialogue, I could hear a liquid sound ahead, not like a blurring water fountain, but closer to a slodging muck. And something else. A distant sound getting closer. Music? Yes, music. Slightly tinny, yet triumphant. Regal. I couldn't put my hoof exactly what feeling the music was trying to inspire, but it was brightly out of place. Cracker took note of my expression and smirked. You look like you've never heard that before. Don't you? I think they're okay. You look like you've never heard that before. What, didn't you live your whole life in a stable? If you're hoping for clarity, that ain't it, Philly. That's just one of those sprat bots. The music cut out with a sharp twang. The unicorn slaver, sawed off, trotted ahead a bit, peering down the path ahead. Turning back to the rest of us, he smirked. I think one of those radiators got it. Cracker suggested it flew into some pony's booby trap, and the other earth pony suggested a mouthful of spear mumbling. The unicorn turned forward again, and the glow from his horn illuminated the machine. Hi. The unicorn turned forward again, the glow from his horn illuminating the machine. The metal balls about the size of a foal's head floating on 4 silent flapping wings, hovering slightly right in front of his face. No arcane science, this. I could tell. It was pure earth pony engineering. Frack! Sawed-off leapt a full pony-length back in surprise, then swung his shotgun to bear fire at the sprite pod. The sound was like a metal plate falling from the ceiling, and it echoed through the night darkened hills. Sparks split. Whatever. Sparks specked the metal. Okay. Sparks specked the metal balls as it was peppered with scatter shots. It let out an electric whine and darted into the darkness. The unicorn almost took off after it, but Crackle's voice cut the distance between them. That's enough, Set-Off. Save your ammo. Dang it. I hate it when they pull stealthy crap. It's like flying it's a flying frackin' radio. It's not supposed to sneak up on ponies. My ears were burning from the free flow of cursing profanity, but I didn't mind. I was mewling over what I had just seen. Idiot, muttered Monterey Jack under his breath. They heard that all the way in Ponyville. Unlike my fellow slave, I was pleased to have witnessed the unicorn's flaring off his gun, because I now know how it worked. What kind of a darn fool, Monterey grumbled, announcing his presence this close to a raider territory. A river splurged across the path. It was slipping and oozing along its bank, half stagnant. The water lapped and sucked at the support of the bridge. making a wet sound making the wet sound I have been hearing. Beyond the bridge, lurking the shattered remains of a pre-war town. The bridge was a maze of a maze of barricades. Dark shadows of ponies moved about it. Briefly, I may have made the mistake of hoping for rescue, but my eyes were drawn to the spiked poles that lined the bridge, and still rotting heads of decaying ponies adorned two of them. Yeet! I get a yeet! I tasted bile? I don't know. The sight was horrific. Cracker, stay here! Cracker said, finally putting a name to the spear-wielding slaver pony. Sawed off. Let's go hear what the troll is this time. Or the toll, I'm sorry. Sawed off, let's go hear what the toll is this time. Runaway Jack lowered his head and looked baleful towards the bridge. I moved closer to him, following his example, and hoping that I had positioned myself so Cracker couldn't see the faint glow from my horn as I slipped my screwdriver and bobby pins from my staple barding. Like all slaver equipment, the manacles on my leg were crude and of low quality. As Cracker and Sawed Off argued with the bridge ponies, I focused on picking the first lock. I was rewarded with a soft click as it opened, releasing my pip-buck foreleg. The manacle fell. No, manacle. Am I saying this right? Please tell me. The manacle fell to the ground with a light thump. Huh? Cage's ears had shot up, and now he was moving around to see me. Swiftly, I cut the magic, dropping the screwdriver and bobby pin to the dirt. Yeet! Into the dirt, and was hoping that in the darkness the slaver couldn't see the change in my chains. That's a tongue twister. Fool. Cagey growled dangerously. The nasty sharp edge of the shovel hovered inches above my eye. Blam. Cagey turned absurdly, the shovel spear clashing close enough to my face that I shrieked. The gunshot was from the bridge. It didn't sound like sawed-off shotgun, but the second shot did. It took Cagey a breath to recognize that crossing the bridge had become a bloody affair. Glowering back at us, his posture threatening, he started to say nothing, but I suspected that he was warning us to stay put, but I'll never know. His head exploded, showering me with gore. I stood there, eyes wide, shaking with shock. Blood, warm, sticky, ran down my forehead and into my left eye, oozing into my coat and mane. It was in the growing list of things I had not seen before this night. Death of another pony ranked at the top. I blinked, feeling the blood on my eyelids. Cagey was dead, and I had Cagey all over me. Where was it? The urge to throw up. The urge to throw myself into the river was overwhelming, but I wouldn't get to it like this. Pushed by something more than determination now. Inflection? Pushed by more than some determination now, my horn once again glowed, and I began to unlock the rest of my chains. I'll just say that, because that word's confusion. I sprayed a glance towards the bridge, seeing Sawed Off hunkering down beside one of the barricades as he magically pulled his shotgun open, stuffing in more ammo. 2 shots, I realized. One of the Sprite bot. One at the Sprite bot. One just now. 2 shots, then reload. That's nice. 2 shots, then reload. Closing the weapon, I levitated it up and above. I levitated it up above. Excuse me. He levitated it up above the barricade and shot blindly into the violent sparing an already wounded raider pony with scatter shots. The pony staggered and fell. Unfortunately for Sawed-Off, the raider behind him had a different kind of shotgun, one that was faster and not limited to 2 shots. That fired slugs which tore great holes in the unicorn slaver's body. In a moment, he looked up to see the results of his effort. I turned away, cringing at the nightmare playing out before me. I focused on the locks. I had freed myself and was beginning to free Monterey when 2 raider ponies trotted up to the bridge towards us, stepping over the battle manipulated corpses of Cracker, Sawed-Off, and the raiders they had taken down with them. One of those approaching was a unicorn raider wielding a dastardly combat shotgun. The other, an earth pony with a sledgehammer in his teeth. The unicorn was laughing, not the mean laugh of Cracker, and not the crazy laugh that sent chills down the back of my neck. Looks like we got ourselves some prizes. Also, I'm doing crazy voice for raiders, just so you know. That's why I talk like that. The earth pony chortled. Nah. Hang on, I'm checking something real quick. Loud please. I'm trying to check chat. Okay. I thought I'd missed something. The earth pony chortled behind the sledgehammer. I think that's what it is. As the unicorn looked us over appreciatively. I think. Excuse me. 2 were somehow even filthier than the slavers. The 2 were somehow even filthier than the slavers. The unicorn bore jagged scars across her face and flanks, one of them tearing through her cutie mark, several fleshy bleeding. The earth pony was hairless and painfully burned over much of her left side. Both wore barding that looked jagged and cobbled together. Help us? I suggested weakly. Oh, I'll help myself to you, all right. The unicorn reared up and gave me a kick, her hooves striking hard into my side. Pain exploded and I dropped, gasping. Rearing up again, she brought her full weight down on me. I howled. Ah! Near me, Monterey let out a wet grunt of pain as the earth pony gave him a taste of her sledgehammer, leaving me in a crying huddle. The unicorn also turned her attention to the still chained Monterey. In a moment, it became clear that they intended to beat him until he was another lifeless corpse, and probably not stop then. Hold his legs out. I'm gonna shoot his hooves off. The unicorn raider floated a combat shotgun from the foot of Monterey's. The unicorn raider floated the combat shotgun a foot from Monterey's splayed left hind leg, the one I had freed from its manacles. What? Just got me. Some hot cocoa. That's nice. Ignoring the pain, I leapt up, crossing... Wait, right? Okay. Ignoring the pain, I leapt up, closing the distance and spinning as I gave a fierce back kick. My hose connected with the shotgun, sending it flying. It scattered onto the bridge beyond. A moment later, I was levitating the shovel spear at the two raiders who stood facing me with gleeful expressions. 2 against 1. Both of them were more experienced fighters. 2 against 1. Both of them were more experienced fighters. The one with the sledgehammer stepped closer, as if eager to see if hammer beats knife. My hair will not stop falling in my face, and I can't breathe with hair in my face. Also, this music is loud. Go down. Okay. Monterey was on her side. Wait, I thought Monterey was a dude. Wait, is that Monterey? Monterey. Yeah. No, Monterey's a dude. Why is it? I'm triggered. Okay, I'm done. Monterey was on her, and it's... Oh, okay, I was confused. Monterey is a boy. I'm sorry. Monterey was on her in an instant, throwing his forelegs over her head, pulling the chains between them across her neck. The sledgehammer fell from her teeth, and the raider pony choked. The unicorn turned, surprised by the sudden change of odds. I could have attacked her then, but threatening a pony was much different than actually attacking one. I wasn't sure I had it in me to slash another pony, to draw her blood, to maim or possibly kill. The unicorn kicked up the fallen sledgehammer and turned to face me with it, murder in her eyes. And suddenly I found it easier to thrust the shovel spear forward. I was no longer struggling with following through on a threat. This was survival. Self-preservation is instinct. It clears away mortal hesitation. And while I did not have the fighting skills of my opponent, I did have an advantage. An advantage all my own. Sats. Yeah, boy. You know the thing that makes Fallout extremely OP? You know, the right trigger thingy? Yeah, I love that thing. Aided by the targeting spell of my pip-buck, I sent the spear thrashing across her knees, hobbling her. A second thrash, this time across her face, relieved her of her weapon. The third would be a killing blow. Except I wasn't ready to do that. Not yet. Instead, I swung the spear around, crashing her across her head with its handle, hard enough to split the wood. The unicorn raider fell at my feet, unconscious. I looked up. Monterey was standing, chest heaving over the body of Vance. I love doing punching blows in it. Yeah. I looked up. Monterey was standing, chest heaving, over a bloody body of the Earth Pony Raider. The life choked out of her. He was staring at me quietly. Excuse me. Then finally raised a forehoof, only for the chain to collect tightly before he was a few inches off the ground. Dropping the shovel spear, I turned on the light of my pip-buck and searched around for my screwdriver. I had lost the bobby pin. There was no chance of finding it in the dirt at night. But I had more. Excuse me. But I had more. Once we were both free, Monterey limped slowly over to the bridge. A shotgun followed him. Before I could react, he aimed it at the head of the unconscious raider pony and fired. Her blood began to seep across the ground towards my hooves. I watched in stunned silence as he turned and began to prod at the bodies tugging items from them. Finally, I found my voice. What are you doing? He looked at me as if I was stupid. Checking their bodies, see if they have anything valuable on them. With luck, food. I nodded, watching him move to the bodies at the end of the bridge. Looting bodies of the dead felt wrong, but a cold, rational part of me muttered that it was. I would have, whatever. I would have to get over in order to survive. The image of how embarrassing I'd be if I starved to death out here because I'm too shy to check a dead pony's bags for a pouch of oats or a can of applesauce. I moved a bit further down the bridge. I looked over the bodies of the dead raider pony. I love being rational, yeah. I looked over the body of a dead raider pony, his face bloody and torn from Cracker's pony shoes. I started to go through the pockets of his barding, but my stomach rebelled. I flung myself to the railing, heaving my lunch into the foul river below. A large break in the clouds brought above a soft sliver of light to everything. I could see my reflection in the water, still covered with Keiji's drying blood. I saw a sawed-off shotgun hovering in the air above my head. I'll be taking what you have, too, Monterey Jack informed me with a bored drawl. What? I turned slowly to see him standing on the bridge, bathed in moonlight. His horn glowed a soft beige light. The shotgun floated between is pointed at me. The shotgun pointed at me, whatever. But I saved you. Yeah, for that, I'm not going to kill you. His eyes narrowed. Unless, of course, you do something stupid right now. But I saved you. Aren't you at the top of your class? He said snidely. We work together. We should work together. Travel together. Monterey snorted and split our limited provisions. Go to sleep with one eye open each night, hoping to catch you when you try to stab me in the back. No thanks. The righteous disbelief stopped short of blah, 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 blah. Suddenly, I was so very wary. Nodding, I lowered my head and let my two canteens slip free. I then backed up so he could approach them. I turned my head to unclasping my saddlebags. I saw it on the bridge just below my tail. Turning back to Monterey, my horn floating. My own horn was glowing. The combat shotgun whipped into the air, and for a long moment, we stood there, two unicorn ponies on a bridge, surrounded by bodies, shotguns floating between us, aimed at each other. Moonlight shone down on us from the break in the clouds. Monterey Jack broke the silence. You're not gonna use that. I saw you spare that raider. If you couldn't kill a pony like that, you don't have it in you to kill me. I narrowed my eyes. I'm a quick study. He huffed and didn't move. Do you even know how to use that thing? I forced a smile across my face. Do you know that you only have one shot left? And judging by the sprite bot, that gun is such poor. That gun is in such poor repair. I'll survive being shot with it. Yes. Okay. Why, pet riff? Why? Will you survive being shot with this as many times as I can move the trigger while you're trying to reload? Monterey Jack took a step back, and with that faltered. My smile was no longer forced, and I'll be taking my canteens back. Next scene. Ponyville, I wondered just how Ponyville. I wondered just how my Pip-Buck knew the names of the places before I did. Even the names of the even the it even named the wreck it even named the wreckage of a building that I had just slipped into. Ponyville is Raider territory, and I hope this place, this Carousel Boutique, was not crawling with them. Monterey Jack and I had barely parted ways when the rail of the bridge exploded next to me. Soap! A sniper. The same pony I presume, who had turned KG's head into applesauce. I fled into the town, keeping to no cover there was. Few buildings were intact enough to hide in. This was the closest. Fortunately, I was alone, waiting for nearly an hour, curled up in a shadow next to the door. But the sniper pony seemed uninspired to follow me. No, he or she had just waited until I came out. Washed over me. I had stayed up all night before this. No, stop making up words. Bad. I had stayed up all the night before this, and this night events were straining my body and spirit. My muscles were weak and aching. My body hurt from the kicks I had taken. I felt emotionally played out. Why is there a Band-Aid in my pocket? I felt emotionally played out. I needed to sleep. Sleeping here was probably a horrible idea. If I woke up at all, it could be in the hooves of slavers, raiders, or possibly worse. Going back outside, finding someplace better, it just wasn't on the table. I was in no shape to test my wits against the sniper pony again. Carousel Boutique was quite similar to words plus emotions. What? I can't see. 1 second. Chat takes forever to load. Lol. Emotions. Emptiness. To the building at Sweet Apple Acres, only the looting was more destructive. The walls had been painted with crude images of violence and crude swear words. A pile of torn up clothes rotted in the corner, smelling foul, like ponies had urined on it repeatedly. There were 2 beds, which was stained deeply with blood, probably more vile things. Other was smaller, a fool's bed, nothing but a mattress on a cursed frame. In my state, I felt it would be wonderful. I see why you make no sense now. Okay. The Carousel Boutique offered 2 more treasures, a locked chest and another terminal. Identical to the one at Sweet Apple Acres. This one was still functional, again to my surprise. It was locked. Slipping out my access tool, I went to work. These terminals were crafted by some of the same ponies who later made the Pip-Bucks, and encryptions that locked security. What remained was puzzles. Find the password. Finding the password. Crap, now I forgot my place. I'm though good at reading. Finding the password within I'm sorry, I can't read. Okay, let's try that again. Finding the password within strands, probably with strands code that access tool laid bare. In my fragmental state, it was probably a small that I was probably able to pursue the code to find the password. Or possibly not. The password was Apple. I laughed aloud, catching myself when I heard the volume of my own voice in the stillness. Wait, Pet Rift. Yeah, Pet Rift is, he streams with this dude called Death Incarnate, and yeah, I made his profile picture. All of us are watching you, Gray. Like, we stopped the stream, and now we're watching. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you stop the stream. It was just getting late, and I needed to stream. I didn't mean to make you do that. I'm sorry. Oh, anyway, back to this. Oh, this is the end of the chapter. Oh my god. I laughed aloud, catching myself when I heard the volume of my own voice. In the stillness of the decrepit boutique, as I realized that, beyond all realistic chances, this was the computer that the message had been sent to. With an unwary... No, we were bored always. Okay. With an unwarranted feeling of accomplishment, I downloaded it, then let my Pip-Buck do the rest. Aged had damaged the recording. Aged had damaged the recording, but there was enough audibility for me to to recognize the same female voice, kinda sweet with an old accent that had many hours before revelating to me that the code had been that led me out of my old life and into the new horrible one. Special instructions for Stable 2. That family down there until the poison has gone from up here. The door doesn't open for any pony. The voice faded. I'm still doing the accent. Why? The voice faded and the voice faded in and out of static. Now, no, you hate this, sweet. I know you hate this, sweet whale, but you're the overmare now. The overmare is the most important part of stables in Equestria. You need to do this for me to keep them safe. Best friends forever. Remember? The sound file died with a whisper. I'd been right. There was no real value in a 2-century-old message. The left of the chest was. I left the chest for the morning, curled up, and went to sleep. It was chapter 2. We're done. You see this? I've read all this. Oh, and now, just because I feel like it, who wants to talk about the chapter?